Okay.
Well, it's good talking to you guys.
Oh, yeah, bet. Yeah, it looks like we're just about ready to get started, huh? Oh, yep. I'm gonna start muting everybody.
One, please stand. Welcome, everybody. Livermore Rotary Club meeting. This is our Veterans Day program. So let's see here. Chris, where are you? Chris, could you like to lead us in the pledge? Please. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, Chris. Okay. Supposedly we have an appropriate song. Okay, but I much prefer inappropriate songs.
This song is so appropriate. In 1959, it was on the top 100 pop list here. And it's probably not the best song for Gordon. And you'll see what happens. So we've got a lot of music. Does anybody need music out here?
Get together. Come on, you guys.
Get together. They want a group picture. Okay, who's going to look over my shoulders here? Okay. Everybody knows this song because we came up with the song that everybody knows. Okay, so. Oh yeah, we'll talk to him. In 1814, took a little trip along with Colonel Jackson down the mighty Mississippi. We took a little bacon and we took a little meat. And we caught a bloody British in the town of New Orleans. We fired our guns and the British kept coming. It wasn't as many as it was a while ago. Fired once more and they began to run down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah. Okay. We looked down the river and we see the British come. There must have been 100 of them beating on the drum. They stepped so high and making people's ring. We said it was like a cotton field, we didn't say a thing. Okay, old Riggery said we could take them by surprise. If we didn't fire muskets, we looked them in the eye. We held our fire till we see the faces well. We opened up the fur and everything went well. Oh, we fired our guns. Hang on, guys. Hang on. We'll do the other one second verse. Okay, you ready? Right. We're gonna say, we ran through the breeze and we ran through the bristles, we ran through the bushes till the rabbit couldn't go. We ran so fast the hounds couldn't catch us. Down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, that worked. Okay. Fired our guns, the barrel melted down, and we grabbed an alligator and we fought another round. Till the city cannonballs powered in behind, and when we just about lost the gator on the line. Oh yeah. We fired our guns and British kept coming. Wasn't as many as it was a while ago. Fired once more and they began to run down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Oh, okay. I have a confession. Okay. In sympathy, I thought this was a Confederate flag, but somebody told me it was a Union Jack, so I'd like to dedicate this to Gordon. It has a couple holes in it. Hold that. Thank you. There might be bullet holes and stuff like that, but thank you for all you do, and you can put this on your Tesla. How's that?
Can we get a picture with Gordon and Mike holding it? Get a picture with Gordon and Mike holding it? I'm sorry that you guys are still living in the grief of. All right. Right, thought of the day. Wonderful, Tim Berry. Thank you so much.
Well, my dear wife, Claudia, has a birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Claudia. And she's 29 again. It's just awesome how that works, isn't it? Every year is that way. I was thinking as we go through life and we tell our kids how we want them to grow up, the virtues we want them to have, and the very same things that older people need too in their lives. So here's a song Bob Dylan wrote to all keep us forever young. May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. May you build the ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. May you stay forever young. Forever young. Forever young. May you stay forever young.
Okay. This is going to be a very, whoa, turn up, very musical start to our meeting. So what happens next week? Who's visiting us next week? Not Santa, not yet. You're a little early. Okay, Sheila. Okay, we have the district governor next week. So we've been practicing. So you visitors, you're in for a treat. Stand up, please. Everybody up.
Everybody up. Okay.
Everybody up.
Sonia came.
Let's go.
So, okay. Sonia came up with just a little twist, a little twist on this. So here we go. We're going to start off and show you, and then you start the music. Okay.
Spielberg back on.
Okay, ready? Okay. We're gonna start. Okay. 1, 2, stop. We need to be there to stop. Yeah. 1, 2, 1, and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, stop. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Let's go, roll it.
Okay, it's going to take just a second for the music to start.
Weeks by the number. This is a song that's headed toward the top 10. It's a swinger. Shimmy, shimmy, go, go, pop. Bill Anthony, the
Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy pop, shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy pop. Sitting in a native hut all alone and blue. Sitting in a native hut wondering what to do. Along came a native girl, did a native dance.
Bob,
It's like
Rex
in
in the back.
paradise,
You're not
put me
moving.
in a trance, going
You're
shimmy,
not moving,
shimmy,
you're dead.
cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy
DJ.
pop. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy pop. Join her in
Hey,
her
Mike, even
dancing
people with
freestyle.
military medications, go. Come on. You can do this.
Tight and close to me, man. I'm glad I'm single. Then she
Christian's
showed
added
me
a lot of value here.
first I was amazed. Soon got learned to step, but she put me in a daze. Going shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy pop, shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy pop, shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy pop. You can do the cocoa pop, there's no time to stop. Back, back, ring them. Shimmy, shimmy, go-go bop. Shimmy, shimmy, bop. Shimmy, shimmy, go-go bop. Shimmy, shimmy, bop. Shimmy, shimmy, go-go bop.
Okay, good job. So yeah, thank you very much. I hope you got your heart rate up a little bit. Do we need to open the windows? All right. Okay. All right. Thank you. So remember, next week, a couple things. We're gonna, if you are a Red Badger and you need to attend a board meeting, we're gonna be here at 11 a.m. with the district governor. So that's a good time to satisfy that requirement. Of course, you're always welcome at a board meeting. And we'll start the meeting, here, of course, at noon and with the district governor, and we'll have, I guess, her vision for the future of Rotary, I guess. I mean, right, I've been through many of these. That's pretty much what they all tell us. Okay, our front line, you wonderful people that do so much for us. Okay, as we've said, we don't have volunteers for spur reports. So going forward, the video is going to be our spur report. That's how unless Joel decides to take notes. Thank you, Joel. Our spur publisher is Don Wentz. Thank you, Don, who's also apparently doing double duty here as a photographer. Thank you, Don. Did you know you were so multifaceted? Did anybody know that? AV this week was Paul McCandless. Thank you very much, Paul. Our Zoom host and chat monitor is Jeff Youngsma. Thank you very much. Our greeter, who did a wonderful job, Trish Monroe. Thank you. Let me see. I'm out in Zoom land. Okay, no issue. Podium mic is off or low. Send a message. Can you tell me if you're not hearing it? It's working now. Thank you, Kim. All right, next item. Introduction. Do we have any visiting Rotarians? Gowd? Jim? Not visiting Rotarians, visiting Rotarians. I know we have Dave. Two of them. All right, go ahead, Jim.
As planned and fellow members, I'd like to introduce two members of the Tri-Valley Rotary Club. They're unusual in that it's a small club. They rotate the offices, but they also have 3 different states have people dial in on Zoom. And they do some large projects for their size, and you'll hear about the major international one in just a minute. First, Bonnie on my left is the current community service director and a past president.
Welcome, Bonnie.
And David Gilpin on my right is 3 times past president. I think he's done every office, including sergeant of arms and dog catcher. And he's been a big driver of international projects. For a small club, they punch heavy weight. And you'll hear from Dave, I guess now.
Right now. Yeah, Dave has an announcement for everybody. You put some flyers on the tables.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your attention. I am here today with good news, really good news and gratitude. And the good news is that our club has helped with your help to organize this Guatemala wheelchair trip. And the other good news about it is that the wheelchairs are paid for and they're going to be delivered in Guatemala next month. So we're not here asking for money today. We're here inviting you to come with us. And we hope that you'll be able to join us in January in Guatemala. So more good news about the trip. It's 6 days, runs from a Sunday to the next Saturday, including Martin Luther King Day. It's a relatively compact trip. It's going to be 20 to 24 people, somewhere in that range. We're going to deliver 280 wheelchairs, most of them in Guatemala City, some of them in the town of Antigua. We're going to travel to both scenic Lake Atalan, which is a beautiful, beautiful area of Guatemala, and then back to Antigua, International World Heritage Site. And even more good news about the trip, as it lays out on the flyer, the cost is $1,050 once you're there with your airfare, excluding airfare, and half a dozen meals that we'll do on our own. So check your calendars and see whether it works for you. Take a look at the flyer, come by and visit with Bonnie and Jim and I. We're all going on the trip, and we'd love to have you come with us. And then I'd also like to thank your club for the many people who work in your club on global grants and international projects, Mood and others. And I want to thank Pat Coyle in particular. Is Pat on screen? Can you stand up? I think. Got it.
Is he standing? We don't know. We will never know if he's really standing.
Okay.
No, he's standing.
So the 50% contribution that you guys have given to the Area 4 Global Grant Group since its inception has been really important to pull that group together and give people the opportunity to do a global grant every year. We've done one every year. We're now in line to do 3 RCoL grants in Guatemala, which has inspired the inspiration for visiting those projects and this wheelchair trip. So I would like to thank Pat for his leadership in this and for the opportunity for our little club to do things on a global scale. So for that, I'd like Pat to stand up and offer him a round of applause. And thank you all very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dave. All right. Any other visiting Rotarians? How about any guests? Do we have any guests we'd like to introduce? Ron? Mike, please.
Hi, Rotarians. I have a guest, Zakia. Zakia is my caregiver, and she's here visiting Rotary. She has the good experience of having been John Shirley's caregiver back in the day. So she's seen it all.
Welcome. Okay, thank you. Any other guests?
Okay, President Splend
Yes.
and fellow Rotarians, I'm pleased to announce, I introduced Chow Pam, and she moved to Livermore in July, and she is graduating from nursing school. She works for Kaiser. I think she is our future member.
Hi, Paul. Next one. Okay, one major announcement here. There's some wine back there that Gordon has pulled from the refrigerated storage unit that we are trying to get rid of in advance of the holidays at $10 a bottle. So if you have any takers, Gordon will be there after the meeting, ready and willing to accept some cash for you all to get rid of that wine. And it's all goes to the club. So thank you very much for that. What's that?
He said if it turns out to be, he will refund their money.
Based on what? Honesty. Oh, yeah. That old trait, honesty. We're going there. We're relying on that, right? I mean, I forgot a joke over here, the Tri-Valley. You guys are in other states. You know where we are? Altered states, right, Mike? Excellent. All right, next. New members. Mr. Burnham. Take it away. Okay.
Yeah, so Chow was going to be inducted like 2 minutes later, so she's not not just a visitor for too long. Anyway, you are to become the newest members of the Rotary Club of Livermore, and the Rotarians who proposed you paid you a compliment, and in fact, it's a compliment to us as well that you would like to join us. They saw in you those characteristics which would make a fine Rotarian. And you have been chosen because we are confident that the image and ideals of Rotary are safe in your keeping. It is with great pleasure that we welcome you as fellow members of the Rotary Club of Livermore. Here's Xiao Pham. And Linda Stanford. So, yeah. Chow is a mental health worker at El Camino Health in Kaiser, Santa Clara, and a member of an Interact Club at high school in Stockton, and past director and past president of a Rotaract Club at UC Merced. Linda Stanford is a retired elementary teacher from Pleasanton. Served on the boosters board at LHS and St. Michael's school boards during while your kids were in school. Yeah. So anyway, that's our new member induction. And then and okay, so now we have a few more slides. I have to apologize because I assume that every one of you read every word in the newsletter that was put together, but I'm repeating a little bit of information here. So what you see here is that our club has shrunk about 20% over the last several years. And notice the age distribution. And in fact, if we go to the next slide, what you notice is an example of the 80-20 rule. 80% of our members represent 20% of the adult population of Livermore. So we need to think about in our recruiting, organizations can only perpetuate themselves as long as they have people who are going to last a while. So anyway, one of the things that about our club is that we have a relatively low attrition rate, 10%. It turns out the average Rotary club has an attrition rate of 15%. I didn't know that until recently. But our issue is not so much attrition, actually. It's more a matter of recruitment. So we need to work on bringing more members in, and which means we should really be trying to locate and induct a member every month, at least one, and in some months two. The next slide is I showed this a while ago, and for those of you who had not noticed, the demographics of and ethnicity, race and ethnicity of Livermore have changed. And so I won't belabor that but when we're out recruiting members, we really want to make sure that our club is representative of the community we live in. And so just keep that in mind as we try to recruit younger and more diverse people. Now, how to do this? There's no a perfect answer of how to do this. I suggest that, most of you know other people, and you can invite them to an event, maybe not start with a business meeting. We have mixers periodically, et cetera, but let them know, kind of what we're like. And hopefully that's a good thing. And also when people come, when our guests, be nice to them. It seems like a simple rule, but sometimes we're so busy with our own conversations, we don't really make other people feel welcome. So that's just something to think about. In any event, one of the things that we're thinking about for membership is corporate memberships. And so for those of you who are know or associated with people with executives of companies, encourage them to think about that. We do have one corporate membership. And so it looks like a way of bringing in some younger people. Our first corporate membership, fitting for today, actually, is led by Captain Manuel Alvarado from the East Bay Military Recruiting Livermore office. And we've seen some of those recruiters here periodically. So it's a nice flexibility option for those who want to be involved, but because of their busy careers can't be here like 3/4 of the time like we would hope most of you would be. Anyway, Rotary and follow-up is critical. When people are here, we need to make sure that we're contacting them again to make sure that they do understand that we really are interested in having them involved. And not only that, we need to find out what they're looking for. I mean, all of you have a reason why you're Rotarians. And other people may have a different reason, but Rotary has a variety of different kinds of experiences for different people. And so that's the kind of thing that we want to make sure that everybody feels like there is a home here for them to have an experience which is enriching to them. Thank you very much.
Eric, come on up. Now, let me just tell you, and Mike, our speaker, I'm going to buy 5 minutes of your time. We're going to stay a little 5 minutes because I've got a couple of big announcements that need to be made. Marion, come on up. And I'll tell you how much I'm going to pay for that at my outrageous hourly rate.
Okay, I'm here for the Rotarian Foundation of Livermore as the president. So we have some slides to go, and it kind of is like some highlights and some future things that are happening for the foundation. And we need to row quickly because my president told me to. So basically, here's the Rotarian bandstand that we put up. It started and finished in 2016. So that was one of our projects with the city of Livermore. Keep going. We have 17 Rotarians from our both clubs. So we have 9 from our club and 8 from the morning club. We have standing committees, and basically we would like to have members from our clubs be on some of those standing committees. It doesn't just have to be the board members. We do have our bylaws that we really follow very closely. Here are the people, and you're always welcome to talk to any of us that are on the board. We do grants. That's a thing that we do to Livermore Valley charitable organizations. And that's also includes the Tri-Valley. Our applications are out now. The new ones are out. You all should have gotten a copy of it. It was sent out by Joel. And basically you can go to our website and also pick it up, the Rotarian Foundation of Livermore.org. We make a difference. We have supported all kinds of things through our community. We're going to be doing the holiday kid for the kids for Cape. So I was sending out a sign-up sheet. So wherever it is, don't let it stall. We did supporting literacy since 2003. We did new books for them this year. Here was for our investing this year for our grants, and we've invested over $2 million. Here's our laundry facilities and the community room that we're supporting for the 2.0 Vineyard project. Going to be fabulous. It's a 501c3 organization, so you can always have a deduction on anything that you give to us. So our goal of $1 million was attained in 2005, and we have grown since then. We have approximately $4,184,000 right now. Yay. But realize we can only give 4% of that a year, and that's determined at the very last day of December, how much we have. So we have to keep fundraising because we can't keep taking down our corpus. So think about that. With sincere gratitude to Mr. Marty Plone, Dr. Marty Plone, he was so generous, $2.5 million that he gave to us. Here's where you can send your donations to. You can send a check, and we encourage you in this season of giving to think about the foundation, because we make our city better, our community better. We help our kids. We help the homeless. We supply food programs. So anyway, our work is service and giving, and we do our work with organization and operations and through funding and development. We have a new strategic plan that we're setting in place, and there are 5 goals that we have, and that will be decided probably in January because we have committees that are working on that right now. But we'd like to do more partnerships with community organizations to have greater impact. We'd like to do larger grants instead of like $5,000 grants. We'd like to do something in the 20,000 or more area. We want to start supporting older youth and young adults because we've been doing it for smaller children. And we'd like to increase awareness of the RFL in our community, not just to us. We want to reach out to the community and grow our corpus through community giving. We're going to complete our goals and our strategic plan, hopefully by January. And we're going to publish a new community report. I don't know if you remember our last one, but it was pretty phenomenal. So here we are to finalize our goals for this coming year. You're going to be getting a Seasons of Giving letter coming directly to you. So please pay attention to that. And that's where you can easily go and hit our foundation to just do it online, or you can send in a check with the address and everything. So thank you for your time. And hopefully I didn't take too long.
Yeah, come on up. Thank you, Mary Ann. God, we're all out of breath just watching you go through those slides. Thank you very much. That was a wonderful presentation. Thank you, Mary Ann. All right, God. Wine social. Now you got people's attention.
All right, I guess it's a coincidence or otherwise, we got two foundations talking, one after the other. So I just want to make sure we clearly understand which is which. And we need both. They're not in competition and it's not a subject of either or, we need both. So the Rotary Foundation, often referred as a TRF, it is a foundation for the Rotary International, of which we are all members. When you sign up to a Rotarian, you're a member of Rotary International, you're a member of the club, member of the district. So we set some goals in the beginning to raise funds for the year 2022 and 23. And I'm happy to say that first of all, the mission of the TRF is the worldwide. It helps millions of the people in 6 areas of focus. I'm not going to go into the detail now because we have a detailed presentation by our district chair for the TRF on December 7th. On the same day, we got a wine social. All of you are invited to, and we'll show that flyer in a second. So of the 84,000, as of the time I prepared, we raised 30%. As of this morning, we're at 38%. So thank you for the big donation. I won't mention names, but we will have a proper recognition at next week's meeting for all the people who are contributing. So working for 2 major goals, significant goals. One is 100% Paul Harris Fellow. Normally for $1,000, you become Paul Harris Fellow recognition, but we are matching foundation recognition points for any donation over 100. That means you donate 500, you become Paul Harris Fellow. I'm hoping to do that, achieve that. The second one is 100% EREY. This is a goal where every Rotarian participate in that. Minimum 25, but I'm hoping 100 because we match 100 foundation recognition points. So we're well on the way, and I'll give more details later on. The last thing I want to tell you is that it's hard to imagine, but I travel 48 countries. I know when we talk about population not having sufficient resources for a basic needs, it's real, you can see it. And Ronnie made a great presentation, very touching last time about the need for the food and hunger. Imagine outside is 100 times more than that. And now $1 of contribution goes a long way. So I Googled what is the cost of the meal around the world. Sweden, $17. Go down the list. $150 for a full meal in countries, Philippines, India, Sri Lanka, and all of those. But I tell you what, you go to the remote villages. In my village, whole family can have a full breakfast for $1. That's how significant it is. So what I urge is, give 10% of your givings to TRF. It goes a long way. Thank you.
Okay, I know Beth, I just want to mention with it for those who are new to Rotary, the big drive of Rotary International and the foundation has been to cure polio. And if you didn't know that, in conjunction with the Gates Foundation, there's been billions of dollars spent to try to address polio. So if you remember anything about Rotary, that's what you want to remember is ridding the world of polio. All right, Beth. Either here or up there, wherever you like. Sock drive.
Sock drive, yes. Trish is holding up my laundry basket there. I announced it last week. The reason that I choose to take them to Glide is that my son works there. This is a picture from last year when we actually took our socks in, 7 big bags of socks, most of which you folks donated. And people all over need socks, but these groups of people, they were so thrilled. It's like they're just socks. But that's the one thing that the homeless people who are there, and we all know what the Tenderloin looks like. And these, so many people don't have enough money to, the first thing they need is socks. They wear a pair of socks until they're worn out and they throw them away. They don't have the laundry facilities, some of them. And this is something that we really can do that's very, very much appreciated. So we have a few. Pat Coyle actually ordered some online and sent them to my house, a big package of socks. So you too may do that. So I announced it last week. I'm announcing it this week. I want to be able to take them to the people there at Glide so that they can distribute them over the Thanksgiving weekend. So that means that if you can bring them by next Wednesday, I would love to have, you can see the difference between what we have there and what we have there. So we need some of you to hopefully make up the difference. Bob. Well, I had one woman from my synagogue crafters group that I am with before I come here every Wednesday, and she donated lots of socks that were used and they were clean, but I had to go through them and a lot of them were worn. And so that it just seems simpler to, yes, you could, but if they're like new, that's fine. They don't have anything at Glide that says, no, we can't have used socks. Mike.
If you go to Target, I am 99% sure you talk to one of the assistant managers, they will give you a 25% off.
Okay.
And probably Walmart would probably do the same.
So if you guys give me cash, then I get to go to the store and talk to the manager, right? I won't list all the things I'm in charge of in life. But that's a thought. That's something that you can do if you can't go to Target or, pick them up at Safeway or whatever. So, but thank you. And we really appreciate all the socks you can bring.
Thank you, Beth. All right. And lastly, I'm sorry, with some Loretta, I don't know if you're on or not. We want some photos. Should we show some photos of last Saturday's service project at Sunflower Hill? I don't see Loretta. You're here? Want anything quick?
Oh, he doesn't see her on.
I don't see her.
No, she's not on Zoom.
Okay, all right. So great job. Well done. Thank you very much for those who volunteered. And then, so Mike, come on, start waking your way up here, but I'm going to give $100. I'll figure out I'm buying time for us to stay a little 5 minutes.
Okay. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor. Okay, there we go. I was looking. It is my great honor to introduce Mike Gilmore. He is a longtime Livermore resident, and he has given his all for our community and our United States, and has served for us and protecting our country. And he's here today to talk a little bit about Mike and his experience. And I would love for all of you to give him a warm welcome. Mike Gilmore.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm a longtime Livermore resident. I moved here shortly in 1980 and lived with my dad, who happened to own the Big T Market down the street. Graduated from Livermore High in 1987. And after graduation, all I did was work for my dad. That's what I did before high school. That's what I did after high school. And I felt like I was missing something. So I told my dad one day, Dad, I'm leaving next month. I joined the U.S. Army. Well, he wasn't too happy. His thought wasn't, I'm going to miss you, son. His thought was, well, how am I going to replace you in the grocery store? So I joined the Army, and I joined as a combat engineer. And what a combat engineer did, I didn't know. So I asked my recruiter. He said, you ever seen the movie, The Fighting Seabees with John Wayne? I says, oh, absolutely. He says, well, it's a lot like that. Well, it wasn't. Well, I did get to build bridges and blow bridges. Well, we trained to blow bridges, never actually blew up a bridge, but we also did landmine warfare back at that point in time. When I joined the Army, it was still the heart of the Cold War, so we were still training to fight the Russians in Western Europe. Luckily, that never happened, but we still trained with landmines and how to clear minefields and booby traps and all that good fun stuff. And well, luckily now that's officially outlawed by the Geneva Convention, but we still train for it. I was in service during the first Gulf War, but my unit wasn't called active, so I did not go overseas during the first Gulf War in 1990. So I kind of thought to myself, hey, you know what? That's my generation's war. I should be good to go. Spent time in the 1990s. I did some humanitarian service missions down in Panama and Honduras. And I kind of thought to myself, gosh, I've been in service now for 10 years. I might as well stick around. Hey, this is the 1990s. There's nothing going on. So in December of 2000, I re-enlisted for 8 more years. Well, those were a long 8 years because September 11th hit and the whole world changed, including my world. And immediately, more and more training we conducted. Most of my time was spent in National Guard up to then. But after 9/11, there was a lot of training preparation for deployments. I didn't deploy in 1990, so I thought, you know what, I need to be first on that list. So I was first on the list for any deployment. Well, as the deployment came up, my name was drawn, and I got deployed to the great state of Utah. I spent 2003 standing guard at a chemical weapons depot. And when we got there, we were told that they had just finished disposing of the mustard gas left over from World War I. That was a fun year. Very fun year. Standing guard in the middle of Utah was pretty boring, but got off that mission, came home, thought to myself, all right, I should be good. But there was a lot of rumor floating around that my unit's flag was going to be activated and deployed for this upcoming Iraq mission that the Washington State Guard was going to. Well, again, I was first on the list for deployment because I wanted to be, I told him, I said, put me number 1 on that list. I'm your first volunteer. Went to work, let's see here, December of 2003, I went back to DHL and I told them, I'll be coming back to work in about 3 weeks. They asked me, why can't you come back to work before Christmas? I said, I know what it looks like here around Christmas time. I'll be back after Christmas. So went back to work December 26th, let's say, and went right into my manager's office and he said, thank you, welcome back. I said, thank you, good to be back. By the way, Friday's my last day. I'm going to Iraq. He kind of looked at me like, you can't go to Iraq. You just came back. But no, that's what I wanted to do. I felt it was my duty, my service. I was in uniform and I wanted to get overseas and be deployed. It was quite an interesting year, to say the least. The toughest thing, of course, for anybody is to leave their family. When I left for Utah, it wasn't so bad because, I had the cell phone, I could call, The kids came up and visit me in Utah a couple of times. I snuck home from Utah a couple of times, but that deployment overseas to Iraq was a little bit different. There was no weekend visits. There was no time to do anything like that. So it was really, really tough to actually leave my kids. My kids at that point in time were 10 and 8. And it was very tough to do. But I did it, and it was an interesting year. I deployed as a squad leader, but spent a lot of time as the platoon sergeant for my platoon overseas. We did combat missions. When we first got overseas, our combat missions were leading convoy security from, I was stationed in LSA Anaconda, which is 20 miles north of Baghdad. And so we spent a lot of the first 6 weeks I was in the country, we spent time escorting convoys from LSA Anaconda into Baghdad and around into Fallujah and up into northern Iraq. That was spring of 2004. If you go back and look at your history books, which I don't know if it's even in history books yet, but spring of 2004 was right at the time that the first insurgency hit. The Iraq campaign was quiet and was really quiet at that point in time. But spring 2004, these insurgents started crossing over from Turkey and Iran. And they started planting a lot more roadside bombs, a lot more attacks. The Marines got into a big scuffle up there in Fallujah. And it was pretty ugly out there driving up and down those roads. They kind of called us the lucky escorts, as our convoy never got hit. There was a couple times our convoys were delayed and a convoy jumped in front of us. That convoy got hit. One time we left early and the convoy that would have been in our spot got hit, but our convoy never got hit. We then mission changed and we started doing security patrol missions in and around our base. And that was quite stressful. Kicking down doors, searching buildings, searching houses. It was a tough mission, and we actually lost. We lost three soldiers doing that. Now, one afternoon we were doing a mission, and a former Iraqi first sergeant with Saddam's Republican Guard had changed his name and changed his identity and infiltrated their the new Iraqi army. And he was looking for an opportunity to kill Americans. And my lieutenant kind of had his back turned, and this person, he kind of took over, and he shot up our platoon and killed my lieutenant, one other man, and seriously wounded a third. And that was a tough day. November the 4th, which was about a couple days ago, 18 years ago, on November the 4th, my Humvee was blown up by an IED, and I was severely wounded. I had a 3-centimeter hole in my right shoulder and small lacerations to my face, and I was sent home from Iraq. And kind of lost concentration where I was there for a second. Anyways, I'm proud of my service. I'm proud of what I did. Iraq was a tough mission. I ended up doing a total of 20 years in the Army. And when I came back home from Iraq, I still had 3 more years left in service. Those were tough years because a lot of things had changed with me. It was tough for me driving up and down the streets. Out here in Livermore was even tough driving around. When we were doing security missions in Iraq, the area that we were patrolling was around the Tigris River. So there was a lot of vegetation, a lot of farmland, And believe it or not, there was grape fields out there. And when I was in Iraq, I thought, hey, that's pretty cool. Grape fields in Iraq. Yeah, just like home. And then I came home and I drove through the grape fields. And for some reason, that's when the PTSD starts to hit in. That's when you start to think to yourself, where am I? What's going on? And it was triggering points. I had a lot of issues here with PTSD. Loud noises would set me off. Flashes of light would set me off, especially flashes of light, because that was the one thing I remember when I got hit by an IED was not the bang, but the flash of light. But anyways, I came home from Iraq, and I'm doing pretty good with my PTSD. Not too many things set me off anymore. That was 18 years ago, and I've learned to live with it. I'm never going to get over it. I've just learned to live with it. And I joined the VFW and became the VFW post commander. I was a post commander for 3 years, and I took our Livermore Valley post here to an all-American post, which was the first time in 75 years that our post became an all-American post. And that was quite an honor, and I was very happy to do it. Today, I serve with the California State Guard. And my picture up here, I retired as a staff sergeant, but my picture, well, it's not on the screen anymore. But when my picture was on the screen, I was wearing Sergeant First Class rank. The California State Guard promoted me to Sergeant First Class. And just this last week, I got my promotion to First Sergeant. I am working with the Military Museum Department up in Sacramento, and we are curators for the military history of the state of California. So if you've got military artifacts sitting in your garage from your grandparents or something, you don't know what to do with them, donate them to the state of California. We're always looking for donations. And I do a program out on Angel Island. And Angel Island used to be a U.S. Army post from 1863 through 1962. And so we got a small museum out there that kind of represents the 100-year Army history on Angel Island from the Civil War up into the Cold War era. So I really enjoy working with military artifacts and kind of telling the stories of the history of the U.S. Army, especially here in California in the Bay Area, because we've lost so much of our military history in the Bay Area. We've built over a lot of the old military posts. Ask somebody in Pittsburgh if they realize that they're actually living on a military post. They have no idea that they're living in the middle of Camp Stoneman, which was one of the major debarkation station for troops coming and going to the Pacific during World War II. I'm sure people living up at the location where the Oakland Army base have no idea what used to be there. And there's so many places here in the Bay Area that have been built over and the military is left. Alameda Naval Air Station closed. We don't have any active duty military posts in the Bay Area. All we have left in the Bay Area is little contingency out at Camp Parks. So it's important that we remember our military history, especially in the Bay Area, because we were built. You know, the Navy moved in here, the Army moved in here, and they built this Bay Area, and they protected California for hundreds of years from invasion forces. Luckily, we never had to actually defend ourselves here in California, but we were prepared for it. And today, I'd like to think we're prepared for it again, but it'll be the citizen soldier that stands up and fights for our freedom. That's kind of a short, brief history of myself. I know I've got a timeline set here, so I didn't get too much into every little single story of my 20-year military history, but I'll open it up to questions and try and gear it around what you might have or what you might want to hear.
Mike, there is no amount of gratitude that all of us can give for your sacrifices, other than to appreciate your story and thank you so much. Thank you for all you've done. Thank you for being a Livermorean. That's great. At least you're still that. And but so let's open up some questions. We have two forms. We always have Zoom and we have live here. So let me, if you don't mind, if I could curate a little bit, see if we have any questions maybe raise your hand or use the reaction to raise hand. If not, let me go to the in person here. Anybody have a question? Shirley? No?
Actually have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Sheila.
The brick thing that you did out in front of the Veterans Hall. Is that something that you're going to be expanding, adding more to, or doing somewhere else? And yeah, I guess that's my question.
Well, the brick program that they did in front of the VF Veterans Hall here was done to honor veterans, and we still have room up there for bricks. So there is still space up there for bricks. There's no space on the wall, but we have space down by the flagpole. At this point in time, we don't have any other plans to expand that, but we do have an eye towards Veterans Park. And I'm not quite sure where we're going to go at Veterans Park yet. About a year ago, I was on a short, I think it was about an hour-long conference call about some ideas and directions to go at Veterans Park. And my personal idea is to have a memorial out at Veterans Park that doesn't honor a branch of service or a conflict, but to honor all veterans and all conflicts. And so we'll see what happens with that moving forward. Also, just a reminder that this Friday is Veterans Day, and our VFW Post is doing something new this Friday. We are hosting an event at Carnegie Park, and the event will be down there from 10 till 2 afternoon. The event starts at 10:45. We're going to do a presentation of the colors, a short presentation on Armistice Day, and at 11 a.m. we are going to be participating in the Bells of Freedom, which is something that was started back in 2018 to honor the 100th anniversary of the end of World War I and the Armistice. Then we will go into a short quilt presentation. Our Amador Valley Quilts of Valor will be presenting 10 quilts to 10 veterans. So if you're free on Friday, come down to Veterans Park, come down to Carnegie Park and join us down there. And I'll have my Jeep down there. So if you want to get your picture in front of my World War II Jeep, you're more than welcome to.
Mike, thank you very much for sharing your story. You mentioned you're now with the California Guard. Can you distinguish for us the National Guard from the California Guard?
So the National Guard is controlled by the governor, but the President of the United States can call up the National Guard for a state of emergency. So when I got shipped over to Iraq, I was in the California National Guard, and my unit got federalized, and I got shipped overseas as a federal troop. The advantage to the National Guard is the federal government doesn't have to pay for everything that goes to the National Guard because it's a state entity. The State Guard, well, we are like way down here. Matter of fact, we have no budget, basically. The State Guard is consisted of all volunteers. And so there is about, I think, 12 to 1,600 right now volunteers in the state of California that put on the uniform, and instead of it saying U.S. Army, it says California on it. We are State Guard personnel controlled by the governor. We can be called to active service for a state emergency. So we've had troops during these last couple of years with the massive wildfires that we've had. We've had State Guard troops out there working on the front line with the firefighters, and more recent, and also during 2020 pandemic, National Guard troops were called active to work on COVID-19 relief, but those troops were pulled off of their COVID-19 mission because of the civil unrest that was going on at that point in time. And the State Guard troops were called active to replace the National Guard troops. That's the first time that had happened in the state of California since World War II. So the State Guard is the state of California. We are the Minutemen, ready. We're going to repel those British.
And I must say, not too soon. Let me see if I got anybody up here. Let's see on anybody on Zoom? Have any questions? Jeff, anybody?
I haven't seen anybody raise their hands yet, but as they do, I'll set it up like air traffic control and let you know.
Thank you. Alan?
I just want to mention that Ronnie Forbes is going to be serving food on at this event. So if you want some of Ronnie's barbecue, that's the place to be.
Oh, yes. Ronnie's got good barbecue. If you've never had it before. Real quick, last Monday at our VFW meeting, the conversation came up about Reefs Across America. If you're not familiar with Reefs Across America, it's a national program to place a reef in front of a veteran's grave during the holiday season. Now, Pleasanton does this, but Livermore has never done it. We have 3 cemeteries here, which makes it logistically a little bit more difficult, but the thought came up that, hey, do you think we could get this done? I'm here today to say, maybe we can. And so I'm going to reach out here in the next year and try and put some feelers out, because if we're to do something like this in the city of Livermore, it can't just be the VFW and American Legion. It's got to be the Rotary Club. It's got to be the Stockmen's Association. We've all got to get together to do this, because just rough estimate, we're talking about $25,000 to $30,000 without putting numbers together. But hopefully this is something that we can get done and we can look at doing in 23.
Thank you very much, Mike. Thank you very much. Marianne, could you make it? Oh, yes, I'll remember it. Marianne, maybe make a note for the family to discuss it, something. Make a note about discussing something like this at a board meeting. Okay, that makes sense? Okay. Yeah, there should be. I'll.
5:00 at the Tri-Valley Nonprofit Alliance on L Street, right next to Tri-Valley Haven charity store. So if you ever want to come, and just let me know ahead of time so I can plan on you being there.
All right,
We'd love
thank
to
you.
have you.
All right, one last pitch. Gordon is back there. Go ahead, Gordon.
Every bottle of wine sold will go towards buying more socks.
Oh, excellent. Good idea. Good idea. Jen Tate, thanks for coming. I think you need some wine. All right. So was this the best damn 90 minutes of your week? All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming. Oh, yeah, the bell.
Well, something, wasn't it, eh?
Speechless.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah. Well, we can all kind of digest that and see what we want to do with that, and maybe what our next step should be, one way or the other. With that being said, unless anybody wants to hang out on the Zoom, I will conclude our Zoom session.
I have a question for you, Jeff, if you're.
Oh, okay, sure.
I just want to run it by you if once everybody else is gone.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. I guess you're
Kathy?
going, Ed.
Take care.
Well, I don't think Ed, I don't think this is of
Ed-
interest to you. It's something very specific for Jeff. It's something
Right.
specific for Jeff. Not trying to
All right.
offend anybody.
All righty, well, I'll
Unless
say
you
bye
want to
as
get
well.
dragged into a task, you know,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
it.
yeah. Ed, stay on, buddy.
Ed signing off. Great
All
meeting.
righty.
Bye, Ed. Bye,
Talk
Ed.
to you next week. Bye-bye.
Maybe we should force quit the screen so we can see each other.
Oh,
You could do that.
yeah, it's been.
You go up to view options, say force, quit share. I can't do it, but you can.
Oh, okay, hang on. I'm trying to get to view options. Hang on, quit share.
Stop share.
Participant sharing. There we go.
Yeah, there you
There
go.
we go. That's a first.
And now we'll,
That's a first. Yeah.
they're still on and they don't know it.
No. Well, I bet you we could do something here too, huh?
Yeah, you can just
Here,
force
let's-
them out.
yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
Remove.
Stop their video.